Hello and welcome to the Jim Ruff Show. Today it's my good fortune to have two young gals from the Chimacum Pie Ice program. It's actually the Contemporary World Problems class in Chimacums. And one of them is Gloria Miles, and the other one is Ellie Spitzbart.
Hi.
And they're my guests today because they are going to be involved in a very interesting program of creating a wisdom council for the town of Port Townsend. And they're going to be doing 3 cycles of the project. I guess the first one's in November, and then the second one's like in February or something, and then in May. And it's still early, so we don't expect you to know that much about the Wisdom Council, but it'd be fun to get to know you anyway.
Yeah.
So both of you, I was asking you earlier, what in your mind is the most important issue we face as a society, given that we're the adult community, we're handing you this new society? What's the important, crucial issue?
I think the relationship between adults and children, and how it's always kind of like the adults are afraid to communicate with the children. Like, there's no, I mean, not just your parents, but any kind of other adults, or going to ask for help for anything, or even children standing up and looking to adults and saying, okay, the city of Port Townsend, I would like more games and more things to do in Port Townsend, rather than just be afraid to get out there. I think that that's in Port Townsend an issue.
So that
and actually everywhere is that an issue.
That there's a divide, and the youth are afraid to talk about it, or the adults don't treat them with respect, you think?
I think that if they would give them a chance, that they would, you know, but it's just getting out of your whole comfort zone and actually wanting to do something about an issue. And that's what I kind of see the Wisdom Council helping with.
Yeah, good.
You know, so.
Yeah, like how? How were you thinking that?
Because we can actually, as kids, sit in a wisdom council and be around all these adults and talk about the issues, and they can get our opinion on the issues instead of just adults' opinion. And for teens to be a part of a wisdom council is an amazing opportunity.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Well, that's cool. I think, let's see, well, let me follow up and ask you, Ellie, what's your answer to that question?
Truthfully, I don't remember the question.
Well, the issue, you remember you were telling me earlier what you thought, and that was, the question was about, what do you think the big issue is in our society, that we're handing you this society, and what do you like or don't like about it?
Well, like what I was saying earlier, just how people need to learn to think before they do something. Like with just, you're walking down the street, right, and you've got thoughts in your head, and then someone comes up and asks you a question, like, you're gonna think about it, but like the people running our country don't think about what they're doing before they do it. They just jump to the first thing that pops in their head. Then the result of that isn't always the best, so then we get in this bigger mess, and then we have to fix that, but then they don't think about that, and then just this huge bleh.
Right. There's the way I phrase it often is that collectively we are stupid. We're collectively stupid. I mean, maybe we're smart individually, but when you put it all together, our collective decisions are dumb. And part of that is our system, in my judgment, that our system kind of requires the politicians to pander after the lowest common denominator, rather than, in other words, trying to put on ads that get people afraid of terrorism, and so we do simple actions and say they advocate simple actions and so forth. So you've created an issue that I'm hoping we see the connection with the Wisdom Council, because in my mind, if we can have this quality of conversation and where we randomly select people and then raise their quality of conversation so that they see the deep issues.
So they do think before they react. And I mean, that goes for everything, like recycling, even thinking before you do that, or thinking before you make a decision. I mean, then it gets to the bad thing where you think about before you go to war. But it's thinking before you act is lacking,
Yeah. Well, it's our now that we're a complex society, I think when I was growing up at your age, our society was so much simpler. And
Yeah.
it was almost like we didn't have to, as a society, think so much.
Yeah.
But maybe we do now. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Well, tell me what we've got this situation where you're going to learn about the Wisdom Council as you go along. But talk to me about your impression about it. Now, one impression you have is that I wanted to check out with you is that the random selection is going to be of the adult community, not the students.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
you're right, there will be created this larger
yeah.
conversation because you'll be part of the conversation in the adult, I mean, the actual random Wisdom Council will meet and go 2 days and it'll just be the adults. But when they speak, the point of it is to create a conversation of everyone.
Yeah.
So that the students, everyone will be part of that larger conversation, and everyone will be invited and listening, and the CWD classes will all meet and talk about the results and input on their.
Yeah. A lot of different points of view need to be made before something, I love the whole fact of the Wisdom Council, and I think it's great that we have the opportunity to do so, being teens and being in our program that we're in, that we have that opportunity. I think it's absolutely wonderful.
I do too.
It's absolutely wonderful.
I do too. And in fact,
But,
I don't know if you know, but part of what we're trying to do is demonstrate this process and that it works. And originally, I thought it required the city council to be involved, and it would still be wonderful if they were. But now we're realizing that you can just do it for the town. And I think the adult citizens will support you and rise to the occasion.
Oh, yeah.
And then we can take this model to other towns. Vancouver, Washington is interested. There's some people there that are wanting to think about, they're watching us. And St. Helens, Oregon, people there are interested in watching to see how this works, that they might be able to do something similar.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it helps the community out so much to get everybody together and talk as a community, and then go to your city council and say, well, this is, like say we want a new food co-op, and then go to your city council and have all these group of people, and we've met with, 1,000 random people, and we've all came to this conclusion that a food co-op would help, and then go to your city council. So it's not required that you have to have your,
That's right.
it's great.
That's good. Yeah. So the Wisdom Council would come up with a strategy or a plan or a thought or an idea, this randomly selected group of 12, and they would present it in a hall, and you would have this, hopefully, 1,000 people maybe, I don't know, or a couple hundred people, either in the hall or on PTTV, who would support this statement, and then that statement would then, the city, if we had that kind of excitement for a specific action or strategy, then the city council presumably would just jump on it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That happened in the food co-op. Apparently the food co-op was working on buying the building, but they kept it kind of a secret, the board was. And then the Wisdom Council met and said, hey, why aren't we just buying this building? And then as soon as they said that, the board went, oh, well, we actually are, and thank you very much. Now we feel empowered to go do that.
Oh, great.
So,
Great.
yeah. So talk to me about, what do you tell your parents what did you tell your parents when you heard about this Wisdom Council? What did you say to them? What did you say it was about?
I basically described kind of that we're going to be getting a bunch of people together, a bunch of adults together randomly, and have them talk about issues and hopefully come to a conclusion.
Yeah.
And they're just, okay, it's a huge kind of, okay, and we don't know where we're doing it, but we're just doing it. That's kind of basically what
What'd you say, Ellie?
I went home and I told my mom, since last week was the first week in the class, and we just talked about the basic things. But I talked to her about what we had talked about, the world problems and stuff like that, and what the Wisdom Council will do to kind of like get the community involved in a way. That's kind of like, and she thinks it's going to be great. She's really happy for me to be a part of this class and starting at such a young age, and then I could work my way up.
That's really true. It'd be a wonderful experience. I think
It's going to be a
wonderful
great life experience.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. And what about your friends? Have you told other people your age?
To join the class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you?
Basically, to join the class. And to get the public school kids also that Chimacum. And I said, why can't they? I told Marcy, I go, why can't they be a part of the class?
Yeah.
You know, why can't they?
Because it is just pie and ice right now. If we could get more kids from Port Townsend High School and from Chimacum High School in it, it would spread
Well,
over
a younger group for a wisdom council.
Huh.
You know, to get a younger kind of group for a wisdom council. But, you know.
Well, the first time I ever tried it, I mean, it was a concept. My son was in the high school. This is 12 years ago now. He was in the high school here, and we randomly selected students from the high school. And they met, we just did it once. We couldn't get them together for like a weekend or whatever, like we're going to do with the adults. But they met from, like on Monday from 10 to 12, on Tuesday from 2 to 4, and on Wednesday from 8 to 10 or something. So they wouldn't miss the same class. And then rather than present to the students, which is what should happen, they should present to the student body in an assembly or something. What they did is they presented to the superintendent of schools and the principal and the mayor and people like that, which is really the wrong idea. But those guys were really thrilled, and the group came up with 6 conclusions that were their unanimous statements, and it was exhilarating because when we did it, there was one. Basically, the kids started out saying school's boring. That was what they started.
Oh, yeah.
And then they said, half of them said it's boring because it goes too fast, and the other half said it's boring because it goes too slow. And then there was this great conversation about it, and then they came up with some strategies to kind of mix the two and propose them, and it would have been really cool to have it go to the students, but it was just an experiment. So, but that would be one way to do it. Is for one way for it to spread would be to have it happen, in the high school.
Oh, yeah.
Like even the Wisdom Council that we have now, present it to the high schools and also to the people that we select and to present it at different places. So then, I don't know, maybe people
That'd be
would
great.
get involved. Or
That'd be
something.
great. Have the adult community reach their conclusion and then go to the high school and present it, and go to and present it at an evening. That's a great idea. You mean to have more than one presentation?
Yeah.
What a great idea that would be. Yeah.
Like
Be a lot
our
of fun.
first one with the council that we've selected or whatever, and then even those people, if they wanted to, we could present it to the high schools.
Oh, yeah. It'd get kids really excited about it, which gets more enthusiasm and more, chance, for a young or even to join it or even to be enthused and spread the word. But
And then you would already have like a base idea, so then they're not jumping into something and they're like, okay, now what do I do, kind of a thing. They
Right.
have an idea in their head.
yeah.
Well, that would be great. Yeah. One way to do it would be to have the adults present to different things, and the other idea would be to have the students take the message and present. Is that what you're saying?
Either way, yeah.
Either way. Okay. Yeah. No, that's cool. That'd be really fun. Well, and of course, I'm hoping that we can. Part of what we're trying to do is we have this nonprofit, and we're trying to have this go to different places. So I'm imagining that we could get some regional media to come cover it too. I don't know. Like, wouldn't it be fun to have? I keep thinking of Evening Magazine. I think they would
Oh,
love
yeah.
to have
Evening
this.
magazine would come.
Don't you think so?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That would be wonderful. Way to get your word out there. And if 2 other places have already, heard your word and done, I think
Yeah.
that would be great. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So do you see that? Tell me about. I'm seeing this as the strategy for solving world problems, Do you have any sense of that? I mean, other than, one way is to think of it as just kind of creating an adult conversation. I mean, to create a new quality of conversation among the citizens. But I'm seeing it as an actual solution to how we can solve global warming, how we can stop the war on terror, solve the war terrorism, issues like that.
I think it's more of an awareness to get people aware, and then over like because solving it's, but getting people more aware. So what do you need? You need it's just little by little people doing difference to make a big, huge change. So I think it's big to make people a lot aware.
Yes.
And aware of what's
Yes.
going on, and aware of
Right.
how they could change and how they can change something, and how,
Right, it would certainly
Right.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that? Do you see what I'm getting at about the solution thing? I mean, one piece of it is the awareness.
Mm-hmm. I
But-
don't know if it would, like, jumping straight to this solution, but having awareness, and then the people will want to become the solution.
Yeah, and people will hopefully feel empowered to become the solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other side of it, or the side that kind of is my hidden agenda, I guess, is like, if we could do this for the nation, or if we could do this for the world, randomly select people, have them come together, have them create this new conversation for the nation, say, or for Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, we can do it. We can do a random selection for the city of Port Townsend. We can also do a random selection for, all the voters of Washington State, and create through TVW or something a link, so that
Yeah.
everybody in the state can be kind of in a conversation and reaching new conclusions, or everybody in the country can be in a sense. If we could create a voice of we the people, which is all of us, that would change. There's hardly an issue that wouldn't be transformed by that. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, big time. And to get the communication would be great. Oh yeah, that would. Gosh, I can't even. Yeah, that would
amazing.
be. It would be. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's what so in other words, we can demonstrate it in a small scale, like just high school kids doing it for a town, and have that town over time experience a new level of conversation, the awareness, the sense of empowerment like you're talking about, but also a sense of we the people providing direction to the city council, and maybe even standing up to the state of Washington saying, gee, I don't know, in my mind, most of our budget is just frittered away with law and justice that is required by the state. In other words, we put people in jail. We have to do it because the state tells us we have to. But if all the citizens of Port Townsend were to say, gee, we don't want to spend our money that way, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually have things to do with that money, and we could do other things. In other words, there's a sense of empowerment that goes beyond just being empowered inside the system. There's a sense of empowerment outside of the system where, hey, we don't have to stay in this box. We can transcend this box. And if all of us are talking in one conversation, then we don't have to have the kind of conversation where we go to war and shoot guns,
Yeah.
or do terror. In other words, what's terrorism but somebody who's really, really frustrated, and who is so frustrated he's willing to go kill people to get attention.
Oh yeah.
So how do we change the nature of that conversation? That's
Yeah.
that's what I'm hoping, that you demonstrate the value of the Wisdom Council in shaping a town, but also in these opening the doors to these other bigger possibilities.
Yeah. Amazing things can happen when you get a bunch of people together and have them discuss problems in their town and in the whole, in the country.
Yes.
Definitely different points of views, which can get pretty. I can see it getting kind of intense. Actually, you get a bunch of people randomly selected. They're pro-war, against war. I mean, all together in one room, and then to come to one conclusion is amazing.
Right.
I mean, that's
Right. Well, there's a
It's gonna be
secret.
interesting to
There's a
see.
secret about how that's done, and that's really the secret of the Wisdom Council, is that it's, we call it dynamic facilitation, but it's a way to structure the conversation so that they aren't facing one another. They're not
yeah.
they're not agreeing and disagreeing. That they're seeking together to find something that works for everybody, and I think we can facilitate that. In other words, I mean, what a facilitator does is by being there. If you were facilitating your students, then just by your presence, everybody's thinking would be at a higher level, like you were talking about. That you
Yeah.
help people think at a higher level. And so that's really what a facilitator does. And if we can have people think at a level where we're really working together, trying to figure out what's best. And I did a demonstration, actually, of it in here on, I did randomly select 8 people from Port Townsend once before and bring them on stage here for 2 hours, I guess it was, where they picked an issue and they were facilitated to come up with a kind of a unanimous sense of things. And it was difficult, but I mean, it was too short, but it worked.
Yeah.
And in terms of demonstrating how this kind of conversation can happen. And so anyway, that's the secret, is to use that facilitation capability on a small group and then use the Wisdom Council to have that stretch to a large system of people. So, all right, so you, when you start doing this, tell me how things, what have you signed up for? What are you working on?
For the Wisdom Council?
Yeah.
I'm randomly selecting 500 people.
Oh, you are? Okay.
So I'm doing the random selection
Cool.
and getting them all together. Well, not really, yeah.
And how does that work? So you're going to get the 500, and then what?
And then we send them out postcards. And then we do mailings
Okay.
and send it out and give them a date. And what's your part?
My job is to receive the postcards, go through them, and send out another letter saying, like, letting them know that if they have questions, they can call me, contact me.
Cool.
Like, when they go to the actual council, I'll be there and then help them kind of understand what's going on a little more.
That's great.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, so that could be fun. I think both of those could be fun, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I just can't wait to show up there and see what happens, and see
I
the
know.
first Wisdom Council right
Yeah.
there.
Well, how does it work that
Witness
you've got these 2 days, really? It's a weekend. Is it okay to give up a weekend like that to go? Is that work?
Of course.
Good.
Of course.
I'm trying to
Oh,
think
yeah.
of myself back as me in high school. Okay, maybe for the state tournament, you know. Yeah, no, that's great. Good for you.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
attitude.
Oh, yeah. It's something new, and it sounds great, and it sounds, oh, yeah.
gonna be cool to see the first, for, like, as a high school group doing it, and then having the adults and
Oh, yeah.
seeing the
Oh, yeah.
difference between, like, how much respect's gonna be given and how much knowledge is gonna be shared.
That's great. That's cool.
I can't wait to see people working together, because when you're talking about issues and pro and against and actually seeing them work together and
Uh-huh.
like, you know, it's going to be cool. It's going to be really neat.
That's good.
It's gonna be neat.
That's good. Yeah. Well, I
But-
hope that. I guess you're going to be in the room then. The students will be in the room when the team we
Yeah.
get those adults in there. Well, okay,
Oh, yeah.
that's cool.
And some of them are going to be saying, "Oh, we're the Chimacum High School and welcome," and
Okay.
so forth. So it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be pretty.
So we have mostly the students of Chimacum, but we have 2 students that are from Port Townsend, right?
Yep, from ICE. For three.
Three.
Oh,
Three
3
students from
okay.
ICE.
And you've got how many in the class?
11, I think.
11, 12, something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
But you're recruiting, apparently.
Yeah.
of course. But
Oh, it will be fun. I I think. So, and let's see, what about the other jobs? Are there other, what's the most important job we need to do right away? Do you know? Do you have a sense of that?
I think the random selection is the first.
Once we get the postcards out and we know when it's going to be.
Okay,
So
Yeah,
then
and
we can
figure out
start-
where we're going to be doing it. That's kind of an important.
okay. We don't have a place yet?
Yeah, certain, because we got to have a lot of people, so
Right,
we're not quite
okay. That's
quite
great.
sure. on that.
And when you, so the postcards go first. What about talking to the mayor and the city council and things like that? Are you gonna, do you have plans about getting them involved or telling them what's happening or?
Oh, I'm hoping
Yeah.
it better. I'm hoping. Oh yeah.
Or the Rotary Club or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah, but I hope so.
Well, somebody
know
else
what's
has that
going on.
assignment, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. That's not me. That's the leadership.
That would be a fun one, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Going out to newspapers and talking to
Yeah.
the public a little
And
bit.
look what's
about
going
it.
on right next door. Oh yeah.
Well, maybe we'll create a Gantt chart and have you, but you got 3 cycles that are happening. Do you remember what the dates are? November,
November. Oh god.
you don't remember? The 3rd week in
No.
November, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay,
Because it's coming up pretty. Yeah.
okay. And then three cycles of the Wisdom Council. So we'll randomly select 12 people, different group each time. And then they'll present to the town, and hopefully we'll gather this big group of people to hear them speak, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it'd be really neat to have, you know, a website. I don't know if that's possible, probably maybe this first time, but maybe later, to have a website where people can talk about what they heard and if they agree.
Oh
and-
yeah.
That would be a good idea.
So that's good. That's good. All right. Well, we've got some plans happening.
Some enthusiasm. That's it.
Right. Right.
That's what it takes. Dream the dream.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And I'm hoping that you'll look back on this and just slap yourselves in the butt and say, "Wow, that was a kick."
Oh yeah. Hopefully we could just get on the website and say, "Oh, I wonder how the Wisdom Council's doing now."
True.
There you go.
True. Absolutely. Well, I just heard about the Wisdom Council in Wolfurt, Austria. I told you about that,
Oh
didn't I?
yeah, the other day in class.
And I just checked it out and on the web. And there's nothing yet, but there will be, I think so. Well, look, it's been great to have
Oh
you.
yes,
And
thank
we got
you.
a time. We're done. We got Ellie Spritzbart, and we've got Miles, Gloria Miles, and thank you very much for coming over from your program. And
No
we'll look forward to
problem. Thanks
having
for
you
having
back.
us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.